Namaskaram. Continuous invention is the key for success today. Any big corporate, whether it's Microsoft or Google or Apple or Android, whichever, the system or the corporate, they have to continuously innovate. If the same product is in the market for 3 years or more, it's not going to sell, the customers are not enthused. So one has to continuously innovate. Something new has to come out. To sell, it has to be new. Even to generate trials, there has to be something new. Leave alone the products. At home, we get bored if all the things are in the same place for more than 2-3 years. We move them around. We are bored with the same spectacles, bored with the same watch. We change our pants, change our watch. At least we change the place where the flower vase is kept. So we continuously need a change. The only thing that's permanent in this world is change. It is ever to remain. When the whole world revolves around change and something new, how are these Vedas that are quite old, that never undergo any change, not a single word or a syllable, how do they survive? That's the beauty of Vedas, Itihasas and Puranas. They survive because they don't invent, they don't change, but they adapt a lot. Vedas are from time immemorial. Anadi, Nitya, Apaurusheya. Not written or created by any individual. There is no date that it began on this date, and it is eternal. Similarly, the Itihasas and Puranas, they augment, they are ancillary studies to the Vedas, but they strengthen the Vedas. Itihasa and Purana are more practical. So don't think that the Vedas are only true, they are reliable, but Itihasa Purana are not so reliable and they are man-made. It is not like that. There is a shloka, Itihasa Purana Bhyam Vedam Samupabrahmayet Bibhet Talpashrutad Vedaha Mamayam Pratarishyati. The Veda Mata, if you personify Vedas as a lady, she is quite concerned that if someone reads only the Vedas, he may not interpret it the right way. Instead, he has to study the Itihasa and Purana to know the exact meaning of Vedas. So Smriti, Itihasa and Purana, they augment, they strengthen the content of Vedas. So together they make a great study. In fact, Vedas are limitless, infinite. You can't count the number of Vedas, the size of Veda, nothing is possible. It's called as Anadhita Shastra. Those portions of Vedas where we have no access at all. There are many thousands of passages like that. But the rishis who wrote this Itihasa and Purana, they were Trikalagnya. They knew the past, they were in the present, and they were very much aware of the future. So with this great, immense knowledge, they could access the inaccessible portions of Vedas and summarize them in Itihasa and Purana. So we very much believe them. They are true source of knowledge or source of true knowledge. This Purana is called so because Pura api navam Puranam. Although they are quite old, they don't change, but still, they are quite fresh. They give a lot of new ideas every day. Pura api navam. Although they are ancient, they are quite old, navam. They are very contemporary, they are new. How can something too old be so new? Because they know the art of adapting. Krita Yuga had different type of people. Treta, the attributes changed. Dwapara, it further went to a change. And Kali, of course we know it has totally changed. Now even in these changed circumstances, the Vedas are valid. They are able to engage us into performing the karma that are mentioned in the Vedas. We all study the Veda, Itihasa and Purana. We are too happy studying and too happy practicing them. This is because they adapt. Innovation is different from adaptation. If you innovate, then it's not available to the people before that innovation. It is available to the people in the time of innovation. And later on, when anything further gets innovated, this becomes obsolete. But in the case of adaptation, it will never become obsolete. The same Vedas, the same number of passages, the same number of Puranas, Mahabharata and Ramayana, the two Itihasas, they all remain intact. But how do they adapt? I'll give you one example. Bhakti and Prapatti, the path of devotion and the path of unconditional surrender. Both these are mentioned in the Vedas. Bhakti is a little difficult path, but Prapatti, surrender, is an easier path. Through Krita, Treta and Dwapara Yuga, the Vedas brought to light, it propagated Bhakti as a sadhana, as a path for salvation. But in Kali Yuga, the Alvars and our Acharyas, they brought to light, they emphasized on unconditional surrender as a path for salvation. Now this is adaptation. There was no innovation. Both Bhakti and Sharanagati are mentioned in the same Vedas. But it releases whenever the need arises. There was not much of talk about Prapatti during Krita and Treta Yuga, although rarely there were one or two people who followed it. So it was valid all through the ages, but it became more relevant in Kali Yuga. This is called adaptation. The Vedas are very, very adept in adapting. Similarly, the Vedas themselves were in Sanskrit. But now, the Tamil Vedas, Alvar's 4,000 devotional hymns are more popular. We study them more. This is adaptation. Vedas would have known that there won't be many people to study Sanskrit and the inner meanings of Vedas, so better concise them in the form of Tamil Vedas. That was an adaptation. Similarly, we were all meditating, sitting in forests. But today, how many of us are there? We are all in great 18-storied building. Wherever you are, your Vigraha Perumal, the deity form, the Archa form, is very relevant to us today. So again, that's a way to adapt. So the Vedas, Itihasas and Puranas, our ancient scriptures, they have survived. Not only survived, they have helped us and they are very relevant even today, not because they changed or they innovated, but because they adapt. They continuously adapt to changing circumstances. Not only in 2018, if you and I meet again by the grace of God in 3018 or 4018, we'll be talking the same language. The Vedas adapt. The Puranas are very, very relevant even today, although they are very ancient. The last note, I said, even after 1,000 or 2,000 years, even if we meet, I don't propose to meet, because the one who has surrendered to the lotus feet of Swamy Ramanuja is assured by Lord Ranganatha a birth in Sri Vaikuntha, from where we never return at all. So, if some of our great-great-grandchildren meet, then they might probably talk about this, that the Vedas are very smart in adapting.